Thank you, to ask the Minister for Rural and Community Development the status of allocations made to each county in 2018 under the Town and Village scheme, and if you will make a statement on the matter.
Minister, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy. The Town and Village Renewal Scheme is a key part of the Government's Action Plan for Rural Development. The plan contains over 270 actions for delivery by government departments, state agencies and other organisations to help rural Ireland achieve its full economic and social potential. The Government launched the Town and Village Renewal Scheme in 2016 with funding of 10 million to start the process of rejuvenating Ireland's rural towns and villages to make them more attractive places in which to live and work and to increase their tourism potential. The scheme is part of a package of national and local support measures to revitalise rural towns and villages throughout Ireland. The 2018 Town and Village Renewal Scheme was launched on the 27th of April last. The scheme is funded by my department and administered through the local authorities. On the 5th of October, I announced funding of 21.3 million for 224 projects under the 2018 Town and Village Renewal Scheme. Since the launch of the scheme in 2016, a total of 53 million has been allocated to over 670 projects throughout Ireland. These projects cover a range of activities, from improving the public realm to making towns and villages more attractive for locals and visitors alike, to job creation initiatives such as the development of enterprise hubs and digital hubs. The full list of successful projects under the 2018 Town and Village Scheme and area rounds are available on my department's website.
Deputy Burke is 1 minute.
Thank you, Minister, and I'd like to acknowledge the work on your behalf in terms of the various schemes that we have targeted at rural Ireland. I note in my own constituency in County Westmeath we received in excess of €500,000 for the Town and Village enhancement schemes, and we had towns like Multifarnham, Castlepollard, Castletowngeoghegan benefiting because of this funding for key infrastructural improvements. And I note one huge thing in terms of the Minister's department, that he got a 27% increase in his budget for 2019, the biggest increase of any department in the government. And I think that makes a huge statement for rural Ireland that he was able to deliver that for his department. And also in terms of the numerous schemes that he has going, from our rural infrastructural scheme for €1 billion over the next 10 years, for the urban regeneration scheme, which Mullingar is benefiting hugely by now, for category B projects for €2 billion over the next 10 years nationally. So a number of these schemes are targeting into rural areas, and it is a huge asset in terms of changing the discourse that there is a huge amount to talk about in rural Ireland.
1 minute, Minister.
Thank you for your comments. I have to say that the Town and Village scheme is probably one of the better schemes that this department administer. And again, sometimes it's a community in a town or a village that gets a small lift, small bit of allocation of funding, and it's amazing what they can do. I was down in Wicklow recently, and I saw where we had funded a project for the public realms in the centre of the town. From that, the Health Board decided that they were going to put a health centre, and the council decided they were going to put a library, and that gave that town a major lift. And I see this happening all over the country, where they get a modest amount of money, and the local authorities match some of that funding, and the communities themselves actually support some of these projects. And it gives a lift to the community, it gives a lift to the area, and it's good for the county, it's good for the towns, and it's good for the community spirit. I have to say, I go around this country, I visit a lot of towns and villages, vibrant communities, a lot of people working, the kind of initiatives that people are at. Sometimes I hear the negativity about rural Ireland, but I often wonder, the people that are making them comments, do they actually go in and see what's actually happening in some of these towns and villages, to see what people are doing, what they're producing, the employment that they're creating? I have to say that I see a bright future for rural Ireland. I know there's people that have made a living out of knocking rural Ireland, but I believe that the glass is half full. I believe a lot of things are happening, and I believe that the town and villages are all improving all over this country.
Deputy Burke's final supplementary.
Thank you, Ascahirlock, and I thank the Minister for his response. And I'd be grateful if you could outline any targets in 2019 for the Town and Village Enhancement Scheme, and also in terms of to acknowledge the huge work that has been done. The Minister points out about rural Ireland. You know, 1 million growth in population over the next 20 years. 50% of that growth is outside the 5 main cities in Ireland. So there is going to be a huge need for infrastructural improvements in our towns and villages. Minister Ring is providing that key infrastructural improvement, and the facts speak for themselves that our population is growing in rural areas. If you look at towns of 1,500 of a population, they've grown by 250,000 over the last 20 years. So there is improvements in rural Ireland, and these schemes, from the smallest schemes like our tidy towns or agricultural shows to the major ones like our urban regeneration and rural regeneration, these are key schemes that provide employment, that provide infrastructure and make rural Ireland a positive place to live. There's huge quality of life assurances you can get in rural Ireland, and I think it is great that the Minister got such an improvement in his budget this year, and that he is providing these key schemes to make a difference to people in their lives.
1 minute, Minister.
I just want to say that to the Deputy, one of the worries that people had with the Rural Regeneration Scheme, the €1 billion over 10 years, that the existing schemes that we have in the department would not continue. I want to reassure you that the Town and Village Scheme, the TAR programme, outdoor recreation and all these schemes will continue next year. I have funding in my department budget for all these schemes, and I believe that you're quite correct that the initiatives and all these schemes that lift both the urban scheme, the rural regeneration scheme and all the other schemes that have been announced under the 2040 project are all going to benefit rural Ireland and are going to benefit urban Ireland as well, and it's important. And I just use an example, I love using an example, Deputy Kinney over there, Drumshanbo. And you saw from a small bit of outdoor recreation funding what it did in Drumshanbo. We then put further funding into Leitrim Village, into Carrigan Shannon. And I think it was something like 70 or 80,000 people were in Drumshanbo last year to use that walk. And from that, you have the food hub that's there, you have many other businesses that are there, and many jobs being created. And that's the one thing I like about the town and village. You can do it for the public realm, or you can do it for the digital hub, or you can do it for a food hub, or you can just do it for a hub itself that will create employment for people.